Welcome back to the Diamond Mindset channel. My name is Charles Lewis, the author of The Diamond Mind. Today we're going to talk about see no evil. There are many laws out there. There's the law of attraction, the law of reversibility, the law of assumption. But all laws are subject to one law, which is the law of I am. Your foundational awareness that you are all that is more powerful than any other law. Any other law is just a way of you choosing what to experience. So, you are all that is. You. Being made in God's image means that God resides within you. You don't have to take my word for that. You can look in the book. Jesus said the kingdom does not come with observation. They'll never say, look, it's here or there. For the kingdom of heaven is within. Okay? It's not, oh, up there in heaven with my mama and my granddaddy just looking down, smiling. Kingdom of heaven is within. See, we've so long thought that there's some power outside of ourselves that we got to perform a certain way for in order to make something happen. If it is His will, right? So you're giving the power to something outside of yourself that will only give you what you want if you do these certain things and adhere to these certain guidelines. God is unconditional love. That means there's no conditions. No conditions. You're holding yourself back by thinking that His love is conditional and it's you have to do certain. The only thing you have to do is believe. That's it. And wherever you put your attention and focus on is what's going to create your reality. And that's just the long and short of it. One law that I do like that kind of explains what's going on is the law of reversibility. So the law of reversibility is basically this. A good example is if a big bag of money gives me the experience and feeling of freedom and fulfillment and love, then that feeling of freedom and fulfillment and love can also create the big bag of money, right? So when you look at Philippians 4:8, it says, finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of good rapport, whatever things, if there be beauty, if there be any virtue, if there be any praise, think on these things. As a man thinketh, so he is. The man that thinks he can and the man that thinks he can't are both right. Joyce Myers wrote a book, awesome book. It's called The Battlefield of the Mind. Pick that book up. And that's where the battlefield is. It's in your mind. It's in your thoughts. What are you believing? Because it's what you believe that creates your reality. It's not your reality that creates. It's nothing outside of you. Everything that's outside of you began inside. So if you could just control what you put your focus and your attention on, you can control the reality. Also control how you react to what you see. When you look at the observer effect, they had that double slit experiment and they noticed that the particles that they were shooting through this area behaved differently when they were being observed and not observed. When they were not being observed, they behaved in such a way, and then when they were observed, they behaved totally differently. And that's just the nature of physics. I mean, you have these particles that are suspended in superposition, and it's not until you observe them that they collapse into matter. So when you observe them, and the perspective from which you observe them will depend on what type of matter that they're going to collapse into. You are all that is. This world is yours. Nobody's stopping you from doing anything but you. Not the Republicans, not immigrants, not the black men, not the white men, not the Jews, not the liberals. It is your world. We get caught up in all of this mess, and I do too. You know, it hits a little different for me because it just feels like a lot of these, you know, new policies have some racial undertones, and it just hits a little different. But the fact is, whether a republic, I'm gonna find a way to win either way. It don't matter who's in office, and that's just about mindset. You gotta start really being cognizant of your algorithm. Not only your algorithm on social media, because you know, on social media and YouTube and all of that stuff, as soon as you like something, they're gonna send you more of the things that are similar to what you just liked, or similar to what you've spent the most time watching. It's the same thing with reality creation. Whatever you're telling yourself in your mind, oh, men ain't shit. Guess what? The universe are gonna keep sending you men that aren't shit. Period. And it works with everything. Your mindset is an algorithm, right? So all you gotta do is, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of good rapport, if there be any virtue, if there be any praise, think on these things. Because what you give your attention and your focus to is what your algorithm is going to bring more of into your existence. And I just want to end it with Matthew 8:13. Beautiful, beautiful story about the centurion saw Jesus and went to Jesus. He said, yo, one of my servants are sick. He needs some healing. Jesus was like, hey, no problem. Say less. I'll come to the house and get him all the way together. Centurion said, no. I don't want you to come to the house. In fact, I am unworthy for you to come to my house. Just say the word. Just say the word, and I know it'll be done. He said, I am a man under authority, and I have soldiers underneath me. And when I tell that boy go, he go. When I tell him come here, he come here. He said, all I need you to do is just sing your word. You ain't got to come to the house. And Jesus marveled and said, whew, he never seen no faith like that. He said, go. It shall be done. It shall be done for you as you have believed. And at that moment, the servant was healed. Right then, at that moment, the servant was healed. So this goes in the face of having to wait for God's perfect timing and all of that. And I believe it to a certain extent. I like Habakkuk, where it just says that, it will not tarry, and at a certain point, decided upon point, you will receive whatever you've been believing for. But just like Aretha Franklin's daddy said one time, he said, the Lord he can bless you while you calling him. And this tells you right then, that man had faith that God could send his word forth, and that man would be healed, and that man was healed. If you want to work with me, the link is in the description. God bless. Have a great day.